So today I want to introduce you to relationships. So far we've looked at each of our entities sort of in a vacuum and apart from everything else. And we've learned how to diagram individual entities. So we've done one in school for the department entity and for the employee entity. And here in this demo session, I've been working with the account and post entities. We know how to kind of go down to the nitty gritty and do a little bit more detail on the tables. And we're probably wondering why we had to write this silly little box with just a couple of names and an asterisk in it. And the reason for that is because these things are used in a higher level overview of your database as a whole. And it describes not just the entities themselves, but more importantly, the relationships between them. So we're going to put the relationship in the relational database management system today. So we're just going to represent relationships very simply by connecting entities that are related to each other. And we connect them with these crow's feet lines. So it looks like this. I'll show you the long way to get there. You grab a connector. This is using Visio, Microsoft Visio. Grab a connector. If you've used the rectangle tool correctly from the left-hand side rather than drawing a rectangle from the top, your rectangles will come with these node connectors on the side. And if you have the connector tool selected, when you hover over them, they'll kind of get a little green square around them. And you can drag from one connector to another connector. So we connect from the account table to the post table. And then we can take our pointer tool back and right click and go to format shape. So this one you're just going to have to kind of remember this one. It's going to take a little while to get the hang of where everything is, but there's only a few small things we have to remember, so hopefully it's not too much. Anyhow, you'll grab this format shape tool. It will bring a fold out from the right hand side, fold down the line selector, and you can ignore pretty much everything. Just scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then you have these four options. These are the ones that we're concerned with. Begin and end arrow type, and then the sizes for the begin and end arrows. So this is your arrow. The begin is where you started dragging from, and the end is where you stopped dragging. And we want our beginning to always be none, so we can leave that at 0. Our begin arrow type, collect the drop down, make sure it's still at 0. And our end arrow type, we want to set it to number 27. It looks like sort of a pitchfork, and in our database terminology we call it a crow's foot. I'm not sure who made up the name. To me, a lot of the names that we choose in programming and database terminology are a little bit funny, but this is what it's called, so we're going to call it crow's foot. Anyhow, you want to also kind of make it a little bit more visible. You could leave it like that, but obviously it's a little hard to read when you start zooming out because you're usually going to have 10 or 15 things on a page. And now you can see how that gets a little bit smaller. What we really want to have is a bit of a larger arrow size, or larger crow's foot. So we're going to set this to large, extra large, jumbo, colossal, just something that's more visible. I like large, it's good enough for me. But depending on the theme that you're using, you might need something bigger. And that's it, we've drawn a relationship.